preparing the live stream. But I've noticed what it says preparing the live stream. It's actually already live.
We're live. We're live.
Yeah. Are we live?
We're live.
Yep. We're live on YouTube.
Camera too.
Right. Fortunately, I'm almost fully dressed.
There you go. There you go.
Although, you know, I didn't prepare myself properly here, so I can't. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Color correction. You are.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. Right. Okay. Hang on. Let's get this done. Let's get this done, son. Yeah, I love it. So, how are you guys?
Oh, we're good.
Good. Tired.
Yes, I was up late last night.
Well, you've been working hard, right?
This is how my Friday morning went. I was up until 4 a.m. I'm actually using some of my video editing skills and making some training videos for work. And we had a 20-minute long conversation about the use of the pound symbol for a code. And then
when you say pound symbol, do you mean like a hashtag or do you mean like British sterling?
Yeah, but we're usually using it for what's called a dial code. And yeah, it was just I don't know, some crazy conversations that went way longer than they should for things that are, at the end of the day, super superfluous. So it was like, oh, why? And I had stayed up until 4 o'clock in the morning and then got 2.5 hours of sleep and then got up thinking that my boss's boss was going to be on his call and I was going to present this whole thing. And then he didn't even show up. And then we had a half-hour conversation on the use of if I was clear enough, I'm showing them to use the pound symbol at the very end of a code. And it was just it was very tiring. So last night I tried to go to bed. We rented, or actually we did the Disney Plus Premiere Access and did Raya the Last Dragon.
How was that?
And it was fun, man. I thought it was fun. It was fun. And yeah, I stayed up way later. Lauder? I'll go with it. Fuck it. I can't even talk. Way later.
Later.
Yeah. So I got 2.5 hours of sleep, and then I ended up staying up until 11, 12 o'clock last night, thinking I was going to be in bed by 9:30. That didn't happen. And yeah, it was, then I went to bed and I started watching Harlem Nights, which I love that movie. And so, but I made it through halfway through and then I was out. And then all of a sudden it was 8:55 in the morning and it was time to get this going.
And it's all that's all super relevant to our conversation about WandaVision.
It is. I just have to share. Don't take it away from me, John. God.
I will. So are we just going to go no intro today and just because we're already going, just go into it?
No, we're going to go. Welcome back. Whoop. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. My camera has a mind of its own. Let me tighten that up. Let me do this. Tighten this. Okay. Everybody ready?
Yeah,
we're ready. We're live. We're doing it.
All right, we're live. Welcome back to Spoiler Country. My name is Kenric. I don't. Every time we do this later.
It's arranged in different.
It's all arranged in different things.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
So according to YouTube, I am to your left. Casey is below you, and Sumner is below me.
Okay.
Fascinating. I always kind of like the way that your pointing doesn't match up. I just think it makes it look like it's just this really weird fucking eccentric shit that you do, and that's Mr. Horsley, and that's like you just totally lost any connection with reality.
True.
Well, my reality was gone the moment I tried LSD when I was 19 years old. Anyways,
LSD. Casey's living in a comic now.
Casey does. He's like a floating head.
Yeah. I'm just accepting it now.
You look like the spectral ghost of Casey Allen, caught in the middle of your comic book pages. It really is very, very unusual.
Oh my God, we're gonna go way off track. We don't do live very often, so as we're going through,
it's all planned.
It's all according to plan. All right, guys, we are here though. We're here because yesterday was the final episode of the season. We'll make that. Yeah, because they don't say it's the finale. We can't hear you, Johnny.
You can't hear me?
Oh, now you are. But when you were talking, it was weird. Couldn't.
Sorry.
Yeah, just a second ago. It's the final episode of the season for WandaVision, number 9. And if you guys have been following along, we have been doing weekly shows every Saturday, just like today. Today's a little bit more special because we're live. And
yep.
What'd you guys think? Is that the last one?
Well,
is that the last one we're going to see? We're going to have another one next year? Or is this it?
I think we're going to have more, specifically because the show doesn't do anything on accident. And the episode's called the season finale, not the series finale, which is a very distinct difference in TV. And I think if it was going to be one and done, they would have said season finale or series finale, not season finale.
Right.
So I think what's interesting about that is, I think, which we'll get to in a second, a more interesting question would be, did you enjoy the finale? I absolutely did. One of the things that I love, and watching the finale has made me realize, is the degree to which Feige and all the Marvel crew are just completely fucking around with everybody when it comes to theories and whatnot. Yeah. Because I had this massive realization that I was thinking, oh man, it's going to be a 90-minute final episode because all this shit needs resolving. But they never had any intention of resolving a whole ton of the plot threads. They're just wide open. and now that basically you're pretty much going to be getting an MCU TV episode pretty much every week of the year, I think that within the broadcast space, they're turning the MCU into being what the print Marvel universe is, which is a never-ending soap opera that never resolves and never ends. Right. And with movies, you've really got to have a beginning, a middle, and the end, even though some of them have been cliffhangers. But like, there's while there's a lot of resolution and a lot of emotional resolution from a narrative and plot perspective, there's a shitload of like open-ended threads. Like, okay, brilliant. White Vision gets his full memory and brain back. Brilliant. Then he fucks off. Where's he gone? You just don't know.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well,
it's spoiler country,
spoiler country, right? I mean, you guys told me the name of this show is Spoiler Country, and we were free to fucking talk about the details. If this is a special edition of actually it's not Spoiler Country anymore, I'll start going, wait a minute. I'll start alluding to what is going on. So please, viewers, if you haven't fucking watched the episode, why are you watching this? Turn those off.
Yeah, exactly.
Go and watch Disney Plus, like any sane person, right? So basically, he gets his fucking memory back and shit, and flies off. So there's no, what's going to happen with that storyline. The whole thing about Wanda becoming the Scarlet Witch, I think, is beautifully realized, but that begs a lot more questions than it answers, because now she's effectively become pretty much what she almost was anyway, which is the most powerful person in the Marvel universe, and she's involved with the Darkhold, which would suggest, by the way, Casey is totally fucking screwed.
He just really loves the White Vision.
I have way too much sunlight coming into the room, I think.
We're watching Casey literally transform into another version of himself.
Oh my God.
An extra dimensional version of Casey Allen. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Wow.
Oh,
it's like V'ger or something from the Star Trek universe. We're in the middle of watching you transform right now. And yeah, but given the fact that it ends with her pouring through the Darkhold and trying to master her powers, anybody who knows the comic book universe knows that's not a very good idea, because that's the repository of all evil dark magic in the Marvel universe.
It's Marvel's version of the Necronomicon.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole thing's going to fucking blow up. So you can see how clearly where the step into the Doctor Strange movie happens. So it will just be very interesting to see what goes on. And Agatha's been left, in a holding pattern for future use. I think it's
she'll be back.
I loved the way it all resolved, or ended, not resolved. And there's a load of dangling plot points. Monica's clearly going to feed into that invasion show that Nick Fury's going to be involved with, all of that stuff. So I kind of, for a second, was surprised that not more shit got resolved. And then I thought, no, exactly. This is the plan. The plan is to keep it actually, open, and just, all of these shows are going to end with unresolved plot points from now on, I'm sure.
Like sands of an hourglass.
Yeah, exactly.
So are the days of our lives.
Were y'all surprised to see the Skrull Kree? What I forget. Yeah.
It was
not
Skrull.
surprised.
No, because
not surprised.
Yeah, because in January or December, Feige had that whole 20-minute or 15-minute presentation about Phase 4 and everything that's going on, and he talked about Invasion.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think I would see it in this show about magic, though. That's the thing that surprised me. So
I'm kind of surprised they're doing Invasion, because They did it in the animated form. They did it, they've just done that storyline a few times. And it's not like it's I don't know. It's kind of they'll probably pull it off really well. It was done. It's
done before.
It's just been done a few times, and it's recent. You know what I mean? It's not like it's something that's been sitting and stewing for a while. There are recent storylines that have already been done, and I'm just surprised they're doing it this quickly.
They did Age of Ultron really quick after that comic came out, but they changed a lot of it, made it good. So I mean, they could do it.
Yeah. Oh no, they could totally do it. I was just surprised I was surprised it was that one. That's all. There's so many storylines to do that they chose that one. I was
right. Also, I got to correct myself. It was called the series finale, not the season finale. I just looked it up, so I was wrong. It was called series finale.
Boo!
Makes me sad.
I labeled it season finale on the live stream. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah. How many people listen to this are like, "Are you fucking?" No, it says on the thing, it's the series finale. John,
millions of fans right now are screaming out at us. Millions, I tell you, millions.
I've been at work sometimes listening to you guys talk, and I'm just like,
that's how we are too. We are 100% accurate in all the facts in our head. All I'm saying.
The facts in our heads. That's right.
Welcome to the Spoilerverse 100% accuracy podcast. With me, your host, John Horsley III.
I mean,
it's the season finale, motherfucker. Oh no, it isn't. Yeah. I honestly don't think it actually matters one way or the other. Do you know what I mean?
I just want more of it because that was
but
so.
I think there could easily be more of it. They haven't ruled that out.
I mean, they were worried about how, because I remember when she got the role of Wanda, and they made a big joke about how she'll never have to wear that
tiara.
The tiara, because in the comic books it's so prominent and it's so promote. And then you think about it, you're like, yeah, that really wouldn't look very good live action. It would look so much like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger kind of thing. And no offense to all the Power Ranger fans out there, but that's not the kind of look you want in an MCU thing. You don't want that. You want it to be
no offense to Power Rangers fans, but you don't want piece of shit looking costumes like yours in the MCU. I mean, you don't want these fucking amateur night like Mighty Morphin what the fuck costumes.
But she's
something good.
You don't want to pop.
You're going to be offended when you start off with no offense.
By the way, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fuckheads. I'm sorry, no offense. But, we're talking about good television here, not the horse shit you guys watch. It's frankly embarrassing. I'm Kenric Regan, and I'll be your host.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of people being salty, like, right off the bat, I've noticed that a lot of the people who are, like, the Snyderbros are like, I knew they wouldn't have ended that series good. It was all bullshit. It was terrible. And I was like, oh, my gosh. Like,
Casey, you are fucking dragging us headlong into a pet topic of mine, right? And let's just take a step back for a second.
Wait. Before you start, I just wanted to say I was glad that they were able to get her costume and it looked amazing.
Yes.
And she didn't want to do that costume. When she first got that role, they talked about her and the whole thing with the costume looked really, really, she didn't want to, she was worried that it was going to look corny. But it wasn't going to look good or have to be stuck in this thing. They did it so well on that show. She looked so badass.
Oh, mate, yeah. Lizzie Olsen. I'm calling her Lizzie like she's my mate. Lizzie Olsen.
That's how you roll.
Yeah, Lizzie Olsen must be very happy with that costume because actually they solved the issue of the tiara, which is because their costume design at Marvel is really, really good. So they've just sat and thought, how do we make this work and make it look cool? Well, of course, you take away the full face framing and you make it literally a tiara and you give it a flavor of the original. And Lizzie Olsen's so good looking anyway, and once she's got the right costume design, you bet your life they tried a whole bunch of variations.
Yeah.
And once again, they've come up with one that complements the history of the character, but looks great on the actor. And she looks amazing. And once she became the fully fledged Scarlet Witch with that costume on, well, I mean, we talked about this last night, right, Kenric? I just thought she looked great. To me, it was like, hats off. I never thought you'd make that costume work. And they totally have. But these are the people who made the Captain America costume work. And if you make that work, make anything work.
Yeah,
they made it work for sure.
One thing I've noticed is that's one thing that Marvel has excelled at in terms of updating obviously, like, you can't transition from the comic costume to like television or film, but you can accent it in the movies and make it look spot on. And I think they did that very well with this and consistently throughout their films. I always thought Captain America had the most dork-ass costume ever. Like and they made it look cool. They made it like respectable. They made it look really good. And
fully respectful, man. It's respectful.
I agree. Do you know that word that the first person to truly think about making comic book costumes really work on screen? The first person was Richard Donner when he made Superman, right?
Yeah.
And his whole thing was his buzzword, him and Tom Mankiewicz, when they made that film. And Tom Mankiewicz is really the screenwriter of that movie, even though he's not credited as being so. The whole watchword was verisimilitude, which is how do you actually get it to have an internal logic and reality that makes sense, even though you're wearing this comic book costume? And they spent ages getting the Superman costume right, and then ages selling why people would react normally to that, right? And I think it's something they've got so right with the Marvel Universe. And I'm going to tell you what I think is their only misstep, yeah? And funnily enough, it involves Captain America. I think the only time they've ever fucked up is the iteration of the Captain America costume that appears in the Avengers, when it goes from being a helmet to a cowl that covers his ears, yeah?
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. That look doesn't work, which is why subsequently they use it for comic effect. When he does those infomercials, he's wearing that version of the costume because it looks kind of dorky. Yeah. And they then realized, oh, fuck, we've got to bring it back to being the Brian Hitch style helmet. That's what actually works. From then on, that's what they did. Yeah. But in Avengers, that's why most of his scenes in Avengers, hasn't got the mask on. Because when he's got it on, it kind of looks stupid because his ears are covered up and it just doesn't work for Captain America. And I think that's the only time they've ever got anything wrong, and they quickly corrected their mistake and then started to use it as an internal joke, which I think is very cool because that's what they're very good at doing. Most people will go, shit, we had to actually change the accents of that costume to make it look better. And let's not mention that we did it again. But they've got enough confidence that they go, fuck, that was ridiculous, wasn't it? Let's use it as a joke from now on. So whenever you've got Cap doing anything silly, he's wearing that costume. If Loki's doing an impression of him, if he's doing those infomercials, he's wearing the ridiculous version of that costume.
Yeah, at least they didn't do as bad as the over the ears helmet was. Cowl was. At least they didn't do the 90s version. With the
with the fake ears,
the rubber ears.
So yeah, mate, that film is fascinating for a wide variety of reasons. Not the least of which is the Red Skull, who's played by a great actor. Actually, one of the actors who's in The Right Stuff is Italian, which makes no sense. And also, what I think is great about that movie is the fact that Matt Salinger plays Captain America, Steve Rogers. J.D. Salinger's son. I mean, is it possible to have a stranger connection from one of the greatest literary figures of the 20th century to Marvel Comics than that?
Did you guys see, there was a tweet that went around yesterday, somebody posted a poem that Vladimir Nabokov wrote about Superman.
Wait, what was it? Yeah. Wait, say that again?
I didn't see that.
Dude, it was weird. And that's with me knowing fully that he is also a guy that wrote a book about wanting to fuck a 13-year-old girl.
He's the author of Lolita. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So famously, something that was once considered to be a literary classic has now been kind of, times up, Me Too, out of existence. Quite rightly, because it's pretty fucking creepy, actually. No matter how well made it is, I wouldn't recommend it.
And he wasn't saying that he was the hero. That I can't think of his name right now.
Maybe not put your head up and make that sound like that, Casey. I'm just saying.
I can't think of the name of the main character from that book, but he wasn't a hero figure or anything. It was just like, oh yeah, this guy's messed up. But still,
you gotta send out that. You have to send me that poem. Yeah, I totally. Missed it.
I mean, it's a classic case actually of it's been somewhat misunderstood because the the protagonist, who's called Humbert, by the way, mate. That's who you're thinking of.
Yes.
Humbert is your classic case of an unreliable narrator. And what Nabokov isn't doing is kind of saying, hey, lusting after, preteen girls is awesome. He's saying this is the story of this guy doing that, but this guy's relating his own life. And actually, half of what he's relating isn't even the truth. It's in the same way that Holden Caulfield is an unreliable narrator, right? Do you know what I mean? But even so, it's such a time bomb of a fucking subject that nowadays you don't really want to go anywhere near it. And there are 2 movie versions of this fucking book, right?
Yes.
Well, one's by Kubrick, and the other one is by Adrian Lyne, the creepy British director who made fucking he made Flashdance, right? But he also made that film with Robert Redford exactly. That film with Robert Redford and Demi Moore. What's it called? Like Unreasonable Proposal or some shit like that.
Indecent Proposal.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. And and Woody Harrelson.
And Robert Redford and Demi Moore.
Yeah.
So his whole IMDb is just creepy.
Oh, it's full of all this creepy shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's a British director. He's actually technically very gifted. But he's fallen out of favour. What's that, mate?
I said we're the only ones that can go from WandaVision to this.
to Indecent Proposal. Yeah. But I'm watching Johnny's face. He's like, oh, fuck, not again. It's like we're not even in the same room as this fucking series. We've literally been on the air for like 15 minutes and we've almost not talked about WandaVision at all.
All we're going to talk about is Snyderbros and WandaVision, and Andrew will have.
We didn't even get the Snyderbros.
I think, yeah, we totally.
We're going
to reverse back to what we are, and then all of a sudden you went into weird tangent about.
That's because Kenric quite rightly thought, "Oh shit, it's happening! It's happening! The divergence is happening right here. I'm going to pull us back before it happens." And he was absolutely right to do that. And then we pulled back into WandaVision for 2 minutes, and then it was like.
I think I might be like the chaos element.
You're the catalyst that throws a diversion bomb into my conversation. You're the Columbo figure. You're literally the just one more thing. I'm like, yeah, and on that.
This is the worst. We'll do podcasts with him, and we'll be doing an intro or we'll be doing something, and we'll be wrapping up. We'll have said goodbye, and Casey goes, "Oh, okay, hey, 1 minute, guys." And then it takes him 15 minutes to get his comment out.
If you guys think it's bad for y'all, just think about what my wife has to suffer through.
So
that story be any fucking longer,
right?
Somebody that you and that Kenric and John have met, but you won't have, Casey, and you may not remember. You might have met him only briefly. I've definitely introduced you to him. Is the guy that I used to run my division of Titan with. Is a guy called Matt Buss, right? Mm-hmm. And Matt Buss is a very close friend of mine. He's I always
met him in San Diego, right?
You met him in San Diego. It's like my adopted Buss. He's an English guy who's now got married to a lady who's the head of licensing for Warner Music, Alex Cram. And their surname is now like Crambus, and they live in upstate New York. Got a beautiful daughter, like my step granddaughter, and he works for another toy company out in the US now. But we're super close. I was the officiant of the wedding at the Strand bookstore in New York, all this kind of stuff. Because this guy Buss, he's a brilliant person. He's an amazing person. I could fill an entire podcast talking about what an incredible human being this guy is. But the thing is that's brilliant about him is he has this vocal style where he always starts his stories about 3 times. So he'll go, well, the thing is, like when I look at it, well, if looking at it this way, what I would say is obvious. Well, obviously, if you take and what his old friends do that he's grown up with, in the East End of London. All his old mates, when you go out to the pub with all of them, and Buss starts to tell a story, they all jump in with what they think the answer to the sentence is going to be. So, the thing is, you were going for a walk the other day. No. When I look at it, you went to the cinema. Yeah, and then you have to, and so he can't start his story ever. And in the end, he's like, "Look, you fucking bastards, fuck off, shut up, let me say it," And they all just totally divert him all the time. Like a guy, and it's extremely funny. Yeah, so that's what Casey's diversion bombs, which they're now, rather than the Jack Kirby mad bomb, You know, my version of the Captain America narrative is going to be the Casey Allen diversion bomb. If this was a Marvel headline, it was just a Marvel episode title from the 60s.
I love
60s. It would be Enter Casey's diversion bomb. Hey, true believers, you'll remember last week we were about to talk about the Snyderbros, but in walked Casey with the Snyderbros thing I'll talk about in a minute, because that'll take us out for 10 minutes, I reckon.
Well, what happened with that? What I don't understand why people are hating. I mean,
right? Okay,
100% of the people, 100% of the time.
I'm going to say my piece here and see what you boys think about this.
Sure.
I think this. I hate using this word because it's a Trump word and it is in itself totally fake. But Snyderbro kind of reaction.
Bigly.
It's the epitome of fake news, right? And the reason it's the epitome of fake news is, here's the thing. As you know, like all of you boys, I love my comics. And, you know, I love just about, you know, every comic book ever published, whether it's good or bad. But I certainly grew up as a massive DC Comics fan. And I grew up as a massive Marvel Comics fan. And I've always loved both of them at the same time, right? I love DC and I love Marvel. I love the Marvel editors and creators. I love the DC editors and creators. The two very different flavors. And as we've said before, one of the reasons that Marvel has proved to be so successful on screen is that the creative through line through all of it that DC doesn't have. So DC has a much bigger challenge coming up with universe-based narrative than Marvel does, because Marvel, even though all the characters appear to be quite diverse, they're essentially created by three people: Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, and Stan Lee, and the same DNA is in all of them.
Yeah, and
they're all created within a 4-year span. And we're all created to guest star in each other's stories. DC Comics, completely different thing. Talking about 4 or 5 different companies, characters created in different parts of the country by wildly divergent people. Because Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster are nothing like Bob Kane and Bill Finger. Are nothing like William Moulton Marston. Literally nothing like him, because he's unique. Yeah. We could do a whole session on that cat, right? Yeah. You know, it's just so different. They're just not meant to go together. So jamming them together is a kind of artificial thing. It's been brilliantly successful. You know, World's Finest ran for 30 years with Batman and Superman being best friends. And then there've been modern iterations of World's Finest that work really well. There's a really great version by Dave Gibbons and Steve Rude that I'd recommend anybody read. It's amazing. But the bottom line is, you know, they're wildly divergent. Yeah, okay, they're wildly divergent.
They are.
I'm liking that too. Oh, wait a minute, there we go. Hey, wait a minute! Somebody put Vogue on the soundtrack.
Oh God!
This has become the Madonna Appreciation Hour.
Oh,
there we go. So everybody's voguing away. So you know that's essentially the difference. Now to set up this kind of schism within fandom, that it's them and us. Like, hey, I'm a DC fan, so fuck you, Marvel fans. That makes no sense to me. That is the epitome of nonsensical thinking. Do you know what I mean? Right. I want every DC movie to be successful. Yeah. They have not been able to make every DC movie to be
the bed almost
artistically successful. And I would say that, you know, the first successes on the big screen were definitely DC successes. You know, Donner's Superman, particularly the first one, the Donner one, is amazing. Yeah. All the time, the Burton Batmans are good, although they're filled with flaws if you go back now. The Nolan Batmans are really good. Yeah. Okay. I personally really like Wonder Woman. I think Superman is a nonsensical but kind of beautiful triumph, even though I think it's ridiculous, even though everything in the world is stuffed in that movie. Like, you're sitting in the theatre and you're ducking because, you know, the fucking, you know, the kitchen sink's coming past you at speed, you know. It's like, how more ridiculous can they make this film? It's kind of beautifully ridiculous, right? But the other stuff's fucking appalling. Yeah. And I don't say that with any sense of glee because I want it to be good.
I like Shazam.
Shazam's good. Yeah, I think that's Shazam's great. Shazam actually, I think, deserved to be more successful than it was. It was successful enough, but I thought it was amazing, right? Yeah. And but I go into any DC movie, any comic book movie, wanting it to be great. I don't go in it thinking, hey, fuck you, DC, you fucked it again. Marvel's brilliant. Because I just don't feel that way. Well, I want it all to work.
Yeah, well, the big difference for me when I watch a DC movie versus a Marvel movie right now is Marvel's earned this. You know, we're talking 13, 14 years of 23 movies, now a bunch of shows. They have earned this. You can do a Marvel movie now, and there's so much subtext on the characters that you're watching that you already know about. And not even from the comic books, but from the visual medium of the movies that you're able to build on top of this. DC wanted to be there, but they wanted to be there in 2 years.
You got right.
They didn't earn that. They haven't earned all this stuff. They have. I mean, I love Zack Snyder's movies. I liked Sucker Punch. I liked SimCity. I liked The Watchmen. He
didn't do Sin City. That was
it was just also terrible. So
I thought he did the cinematography on SimCity.
No,
he might have.
No, he didn't. That was Robert Rodriguez.
He did 300.
Yeah. Which was also a Frank Miller adaptation.
Yeah,
so you can see where the line was in your mind.
Yeah, I like 300, and so I like Zack Snyder as a movie maker. I think he makes beautiful, visually stunning movies. But I have fun with the DC movies. They're just not on the same level storytelling wise, and it's going to take time for them to get there. And they really should just sit back and build it, because, dude, these 14 years went fast. We're going to blink, and 2030 is going to be right there, and they could be where they need to be just as easily. And they don't have to follow the Marvel media. They don't have to follow that the way Marvel did it. Do it differently.
Yeah, just
don't have the better properties,
and just don't do what you do BVS, where you smash 3 movies into 1 movie.
Yeah.
Because
and that's it. I mean, there's whole other problems with those Snyder films. Snyder's a great visual stylist, as we all know.
Yeah.
But like Tim Burton, in a very different way, he's not good with narrative or story. And a big problem with BVS, right? I love the fact that we're using these acronyms, by the way, because I think Cavill's a really well cast, but dreadfully written Superman. It's like, as we've said before on this show, in fact, Zack Snyder doesn't fucking understand what makes Superman great. The idea that Jonathan Kent can be saying, no, fucking keep your head down, everything ends badly. That's not the right fucking message. You don't even fucking understand Superman. And you've got a brilliantly cast older Bruce Wayne, because actually depressed, heavy Ben Affleck is a brilliant older Batman. That's a great, because Ben Affleck is a guy that his demons are always fairly close to the surface, right? Even though he's a spectacularly good-looking, very handsome, very rich guy, he never looks that happy, right? And that actually plays into his portrayal of Bruce Wayne. And it's a really good Alfred, by the way. To have Jeremy Irons as this kind of lemony Alfred, I think is brilliant. Right? Lots of great shit in it.
Yeah.
But there's massive amounts of things that happen in that movie that if you've not read a comic book, it's like I was saying about Hellboy #1 a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was only last week, God knows. But if you sit there watching it, you don't know your comics. How the fuck can you possibly know who those characters are or what their motivation is? How can you know what Doomsday is? I mean, even if you know what Doomsday is, the movie version of Doomsday is very, very poorly explained.
Yeah.
You just don't get, and it's like, how does Lois Lane find that fucking spear? It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's not even explained, not even, and that movie wasn't messed with by the studio. That's pure Snyder all the way, right? And by the way, I'm with you about Sucker Punch, Kenric. I had a bit of a Sucker Punch experience, because at Titan, we got a great relationship with Zack Snyder. Actually, we do all his art books and whatnot, and we published the art of Sucker Punch. Yeah. And the first San Diego party I ever went with Titan was the party for Sucker Punch.
Nice.
What's amusing about that is it's me and a guy called Chris Tether, who was the publisher of Titan Comics at the time. He's retired now, and we're standing in this room on the top of the Omni Hotel with all the actresses from Sucker Punch. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the camera pans across. Which of these people don't belong in this scene? Do you know what I mean? And, and as the camera passes across these incredibly beautiful actors, then it passes on to like me and Tether. And we might have just been the fucking token trolls from Lord of the Rings, you know what I mean? The 2 inbred Englishmen at the end of the queue. And as we were walking in, they were in front of us, and all the paparazzi had taken pictures of us. And as me and Tether get onto the entry to the party, all the paparazzi just take their cameras down, and point them at the floor. You know what I mean? These fucking guys can't be important in any way, shape, or form. And it was such an interesting lesson about the currency of Hollywood, right? But I as a result of my involvement, I went to the UK premiere of that, and I took my son, who at that point, I'm thinking he's about 15. That movie is made for 15-year-old boys.
Oh yeah.
To me, because it's
sure.
fucking dragons, Nazis, and impossibly hot women in incredibly revealing costumes with fucking machine guns. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, well, there we go. That's the perfect 15-year-old kid film if ever I've seen one. Do you know what I mean?
My favorite scene though is the plane and the dragon and the castle scene. It's stunning. It's visually so stunning. It's like, oh my God. Or the scene where she's fighting the giant samurai.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Fucking too right, mate. Yeah.
I don't know. I just had a lot of fun with that movie. I think I've met people that hate that movie, like literally hate.
I couldn't stay up through it.
How do you hate it? I mean, it's visually stunning. I've said it so many times. I got to stop. It's just such a fun movie. It's just fun, and if you just take away and you don't try to find deeper meaning in
well, let's face it. There's no fucking deeper meaning to be had in that film. There's no, you know what I mean? There's more. There's literally more deeper meaning in a fucking Hershey bar wrapper than there is in that movie. You know what I mean? There's more deeper mening in a discarded Kleenex after you've been masturbating than there is in that film. 100%. What's this Kleenex full of fucking jizz? Oh, it's got more meaning than Sucker Punch has, though. Hang on, I'll just blow my nose on it. Oh, there we go.
There's a child.
So WandaVision, guys.
Yeah, well, why
kids?
Why are we seeing a lot of Snyder Bros? I guess this is what people are referring to that crowd as.
I can answer that.
Not liking WandaVision. Yeah, tell us. I wish we had Robert on because he is the quintessential Snyder bro. His mind must be just getting so. He must be screaming at the screen right now.
You had to use the quintessential term, huh?
Yeah, that was completely on purpose.
Yeah. So I think what it is like, hey, the Snyder camp, like, I've been very public about my views for Snyder. I think, as Kenric said, he makes beautifully looking films, but he lacks understanding of the characters. And while I am excited to see the Snyder Cut because it's more Superman, Batman stuff that I'm seeing, I also will also say I also don't give a shit. I don't care if it comes out, but if it comes out, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
and it probably will be decent. It'll be overwhelmingly meh, I think, but maybe I'm wrong.
I want to see it. It's just
I'm excited to watch it.
I'm excited, but I don't think it's going to be fantastic. I don't think it's going to be groundbreaking. But I think
it's not going to be groundbreaking, mate. No, that's fair to say. No. I want to write that review there. Groundbreaking. You know what I mean? Yeah, groundbreaking. Yeah, it's not. But it might be a lot better than the release version. Though.
It'll be better than the old one, I'm sure, for sure. But the thing with the Snyderbros and WandaVision and with Snyderbros versus the Marvel stuff, and it's not all of them because Robert's not this way. I mean, he is a little bit, but I think what it is, it's like you had this Snyder thing and then this movement that was so intense, and to no fault of the movement, the actual movement itself, there's a lot of toxic people in it that were just, they're all for DC stuff. So anything Marvel was considered, this is horse shit. This is just popcorn cinema, not good stuff. So they're looking for anything they can say that, well, there's nothing deep here. They didn't go all the way. They didn't give you a big message like Snyder's trying to do. There's a whole compare and contrast, not just the actual just shut the fuck up and enjoy it. You don't need to compare WandaVision to Snyder stuff. You don't need to compare the MCU to DC. You can enjoy both separately, and there's a divergence there where they just don't want to do that. They want to compare. They want to say, oh, well, these are better than that, or this is better for this reason. Well, if you want to actually compare stuff, let's look at what actually is a decent story, or just fucking shut up and enjoy things.
With a lot of them seem to be trying to push Snyder into the mold of the auteur director, and I just don't think he is. And that's fine. He's competent. He's completely competent. His, what was it, Day of the Dead was pretty badass. I loved it. Was it Dawn of the Dead? Yeah. That was really good. And I think the script was by the guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy. His name escapes me right now. But I just don't think...
Hang on, wait a minute. James Gunn, it was James Gunn wrote the script.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to drop a Snyder bomb on you guys right now. Right?
Oh my God.
And this is name dropping of the first order. Okay, you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Ready.
I've met Zack Snyder. Yeah. Right. And I think I've told you this story, and I've been to his office, yeah. And his producer, Wes Collar, is a super nice guy. Zack Snyder is literally an officer and a gentleman. He's a lovely
I've heard
person.
he's very nice.
Yeah, he's incredibly nice. Yeah, he's incredibly nice, very charming. And I have to say, it's like he 100% does not buy into any of this horseshit. This them and us, it's DC versus Marvel. He just doesn't. That's not the way he looks at it. Do you know what I mean? And everything he does, even if it's just grandiose entertainment, he does very seriously. He's trying to make, entertainment from the heart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is absolutely what he's trying to do. And he's a good bloke, So all these people who, in his name, become these soldiers of like tearing down other things that are very successful, he's not interested in that at all. It's not like he is not in any way built up by these Snyder-Brave figures who are slagging off. He loves Marvel films. Do you know what I mean? He loves DC films as well. He's just a fan of everything. And when I say just a fan of everything, he's just a fan of everything. He's been given millions and millions of dollars to try and like turn it into something else. I mean, the cool thing about if my take on the cool stuff about the Snyder Cut business is the fact that he's waived his fee to complete that the way he wants to complete it. And because he waived his fee, the WB have given him $70 million to finish it for HBO. That to me is cool. That's somebody who cares about what they're doing, not somebody who's just cynically taking the studio dollar. And has quite rightly kind of looked at the big picture and gone, hey, shit, I'm well paid enough anyway. I'd just rather my version of this became the version that everybody remembered. Good, bad, or indifferent. Right. Not this bastardized like Whedon version. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me. Casey.
Oh no! Well, I was just gonna say, like, it's
Casey.
By the way, the reason I did that is because, as we all know, Casey has developed this very charming habit of essentially putting his hand in the air when he wants to talk, and it's become I don't know what you're holding in your hand, some kind of baton, but you keep on kind of going like that. So every time I see you go like that, it's a pen.
I take notes.
Every time I see you do that, it's like, okay, Casey wants to speak. So that's me acknowledging the fact that I overtalk, as I know. I'm sorry, guys. You've probably not noticed this about me, but it's a flaw that I have.
I'm the same way, man. I'll start talking and I don't know when to shut up, and I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
I think Johnny at the beginning was always talking when we had a guest on, and then he quickly just stopped, which told me to go to keep going. And of course, we're talking now, and Casey's still trying to get his point out.
I was just going to say, like, we've recently kind of found out that Whedon is not the nice guy that we were told he was, and that's horrifying. And I'm glad that Snyder's getting a chance to kind of get his story out there and finish it. And done. And
Snyder's a good dude who everybody who works with him only has good things to say about him, right?
And I hope it brought more fans to comics too. And helps keep it going. Going back to the meat and taters.
45 minutes. You talked about one of them for like 2 of those 45 minutes.
I know. So, Johnny is like the WandaVision police. He's like, kind of Feige's man on the inside. Feige's like literally texting him going, these fuckers haven't talked about WandaVision. This is the WandaVision finale show. They haven't said a fucking word about it.